We are a podcast for product marketers and B2B SaaS who feel misunderstood of what they do.
From someone who truly gets what you do and
basically help you feel less like a misfit, being unignorable in your role.
Yo, we back from the grave, yo.
What? Revival? Yeah, boy.
Y'all thought
What's happening?
Y'all thought this wasn't gonna happen?
Yeah, we're back. I got hot cocoa to celebrate in my Aries cup. There we go.
Well, welcome to season 2, but boys, we got a lot to get caught up on.
Whoa, yeah.
Why the hell?
Hold on. I want to say welcome to our guests. Welcome back for season 2.
You guys are asking a lot of questions.
Marketers.
You thought you can get rid of us that easily. You guys must have a lot of questions as to what happened here right now. Why the heck did these fools fake the death of their pod? And what does that have to do with product marketing and specifically emotional engagement? But really excited to kick off the conversation. What else am I missing?
What do you miss?
Well,
I mean, people are pissed that I'm back for season 2.
Exactly. They were like, I thought him having a child would make a stop to it, but no, they need to deal with us. And we're happy to be back. We're glad to be back. And I think this is going to be a pretty kick-ass season 2.
Hey, Gab's happy to be back from South America. And the background may look different, but I'm still living at home with the parents. Don't get that confused.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you for everyone for being patient. Not many people play off an April Fool's joke that lasts the entire month of April. So thanks for sticking with us. And we're excited about this season, especially because we're going to make it worth your while. So we had a great season 1. I think a lot of people felt emotionally impacted by what we were doing. Skill levels were raised. So what's the deal? Why did we cut it off? Why did we fake our death in the first place?
I think it's just circling back to our last episode, air quotes, related to the fact that we ask the public, we ask a lot of PMMs what they think. We ask our guests, we ask pretty much everyone, basically. And the answer we got was, well, PMMs are marketers, basically. So because of that, we decided to fake our death and close the pod.
You never really know how much someone cares about your product. You got some organizations say, hey, our product's loved by X amount of people. But how much do you get a chance to really test it out and see like how much it mattered if it no longer existed? And we saw it in comments. We saw it in surveys. Hell, I think each of us got several individual DMs asking if this was really happening. And we're going to talk more about that. But what does emotional engagement mean to a product? And how does that relate to product marketing itself?
I feel like it's a little like our own product market fit test or survey. Will people actually be disappointed if we leave? So I think we did a great job in capturing that and understanding that as well.
That one individual that said that this is the worst idea to ever get traction on LinkedIn, I think he popped a bottle of Merlot when he saw we were shutting down.
Yeah, no, a very expensive bottle. And I'd say when we came up with the whole thing, it makes sense, right? We're skeletons. Our brand's already dead anyways. Very on brand for us. I think overall we like to play a little bit of a troll, a little bit of a prankster persona on LinkedIn. Why not loop that in with April Fools? And I think, Gab, you already said it, right? One of the questions I love asking in research is imagine what your life would be like if this product went out of business and you weren't able to use it anymore. And we got a lot of feedback. I think maybe some therapy sessions were booked because people were so upset about the news. And I think overall, when you think about making a splash, and especially when you've got all these awesome podcasts out and coming out and are going to continue to come out, it was an opportunity for us to just do something super different once again. So I think that was it. Definitely no ill intentions, and we're definitely excited.
Yeah, and let's face it, product marketing is hard, so we needed a break as well, especially balancing everything out. So consider this April Fool's joke also ultimately a break.
What's not an April Fool's joke is that we're still not marketers. That's still the case. Despite what the general opinion has said, though, it's a point of view that we strongly believe in. And Eric, you said earlier, it's authentic to us, along with the skeletons of a brand that's evolving over time.
And it's keep going to evolving, except the hoodies and the sneakers and the cool art, that's staying. So,
Yeah.
gents, got a general sentiment I want to ask you. So, how did you feel when the pod ended? When we put that final note, we obviously had a week of teasing, but when we finally announced pod's over, how did you feel about the moment?
Zach, do you want to start?
Yeah, I can. I had to really convince myself that it was over because outside looking in, it was like you guys were seeing the messages, and I had to convince myself to a place was like method acting, just without the weird I am legend type of vibe from Will Smith. It was just like this is happening. But what was really like what's the word I'm looking for? Took me back was like the response, level of response that we got from individuals like on LinkedIn, the messages we got saying like how people were like, "Hey, I really enjoyed listening to your episodes." And I was like, "Wow, I didn't really understand the full scope and breadth of how much a relationship this pod has built with listeners in the PMM space and afar."
That actually echoes a lot how I felt and still feel, right? Until we get this episode out. But I've actually missed it. I've
Yeah.
missed the Thursday drops. I've missed the extra engagement. I know we've still had some pretty good engagement with people on the side here, but I've just missed that. And I'd say it's been hard on me. Yeah, like the guy who came up with this idea to tease everyone is feeling bad about it now. But it's I want to tell everyone we're just joking. But it's so cool to finally have the episode. We can get it off our chest, and we're finally back. Gab, do you have any? How did you feel when it ended?
Well, when it ended, like immediately after, I wasn't shocked or anything. I think I didn't really realize it, so I was like, okay, cool. I guess final episode is done. Then we didn't met for a few weeks, and it felt weird. Like what
Yeah.
you guys asked me. I was like, I feel like I should have done something this week related to that, but I didn't. So that's that. Yeah, I would say the amount of love was definitely something that I wasn't expecting to that level. And I really felt bad because then I had to speak to a bunch of people, and then they asked me, "Hey, are you really closing down the pod?" And then I was like, I don't
Yeah.
think I lied to anyone. I was just like, no, I can't. I crumbled under the pressure and I said, no, we're not closing. It's like a trick. But other than that, it was good. I was able to keep my consistency and don't freak
Yeah.
out.
I think I told someone I told someone I was like, yes, this is part of a broader campaign. But if you tell anyone what I told you, I will deny it.
You will become a skeleton. Well, and I'll admit, I've definitely lied to a few people. Not because I wanted to. Y'all, you know who you are. I'm sorry. And
Yeah, we're sorry.
this is the big reward for it all. Sometimes a little white lie is okay if it means that you're not going to hurt them in the end.
What a great time to say sorry on the 20th anniversary of Ruben Sutter's hit single, I'm Sorry 2004. The timing.
Whoa.
The reference.
What? What a deep take there. Holy, pulling out some Ruben.
Yeah, I'm sure this is coming from Reddit or something.
No, this is coming from personal memory. And you know what? Ruben Sutter has a special place in my heart. And this kind of segues into emotional engagement.
He should have won, by
What
the
we,
way.
what we he should have won. We'll argue that on a separate pod. But what's really cool about this topic, like really emotional engagement, is that one thing that what it means to me, I'm curious what you guys think, is that when I was in sales, I read this book called The Science of Selling by David Hoffeld. And he talked about nearly half of every sale was dependent upon like your mood, your emotion, how you felt about the product, the brand, the company. And I was thinking about that like in relation to this pod too, like when we were like shutting it down, air quotes, and seeing that response and seeing how people were reacting to that of wow, like in 15 episodes, this being the 16th one now, like we developed a really dope relationship with like several individuals in such in like a span of what 4 months, and that's incredible to think about.
That's like an MBA in product marketing, a little bit.
Yeah, no, and that's what I think is one of the highlights of what we're doing. Yeah, we're getting great information from experts out in the world, but I do feel like there's an emotional connection that we're having with our audience vicariously or directly through communication methods. That's
Yes. I gotta say, when we were making that video for our celebration of life, I was tearing up too. I was like, dang, this ain't real,
I
but
was so
why am I
sad.
sad?
I was so sad. I was like, no, no, don't go.
Storytelling, like masterclass on story.
Oh man. And shout out to Zach. Great edit. Great edit there, man. So good.
Oh, that was 10 hours spent. I gotta say, 5 minutes. That was like a 5 minute video, 10 hours spent. I was so happy. But it's like when we think about it, I don't know if we were talking about this before, but you remember the old school products that we grew up with as kids, like Dunkaroos or like
Oh,
the Kudos. But if you were to see that at a store today, oh, I'd buy the whole stock.
dog.
And I think that's just
Dog, haven't you seen the
that's
Dunkers
just
are back?
no, you're lying.
Bro,
To leave this pod.
bro,
Don't
I
lie.
went
I'm
to
about to leave
Sam's
this pod right
Club.
now.
I went to Sam's Club and I saw them and bought like a whatever 64 pack of those Johns. I'm telling you. I had the
You
same emotion that you just said. I was like, oh, I'm 5 years old again. Let's go. And no mom to tell me no this time. When speaking of emotion, I'm pretty excited when it comes to our guest list. So since we got guests, our season coming out for season 2, what do you guys think about sharing our guest list?
we ain't telling them anything.
Nothing?
If you want to
Oh,
see that guest list, oh, you got to go to notmarketers.com. Not only do we have a new season, we got a new website.
all right. I was trying to be the nice guy, but Zach is playing bad cop.
Nah,
Oh, no, you're not getting
no.
it on this episode.
I'm like, yo, if you guys want to see that, sign up for the newsletter at notmarketers.com. Then you'll see the preview of season 2. We promise
Exactly. I
you.
mean, what we can tell you is it's a fire guest list. It's a fire
Yeah,
roster here.
Oh, yeah.
it's
I would say with good confidence, we've got
we got the fire marshal on standby. That's how much heat is being brought.
on speed dial.
yeah. Oh boy, I'm looking at it right now. That's fire. All right, boys, what should we talk about next?
Should we say why we're launching a newsletter?
Because Gab wants us to get all your emails and send them to Salesforce for a very low
Exactly.
price.
That's very on brand for
All your
Gab.
data.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. Why are we making a newsletter? Especially because I think it's even better story because one, Eric never watched a podcast in his life before, and two, Eric doesn't open any of the newsletters that he's subscribed to. So, Gab, why are we doing a newsletter?
Is this foreshadowing for end of season 2?
The reason why we're doing a newsletter, from my understanding, from when we spoke together and everything, um, I would say that we're trying to give more to our audience, right? There's only so much you can do with a podcast. Yes, you can listen to it. Yes, there's a bunch of stuff you can do. You can download it.
Yeah.
But there is still a lot of work to be done in order to bridge the knowledge and insights you're getting from those episodes into
Yes.
something that is actionable and can help you win as a product marketing manager. So, primarily, the goal of the newsletter for us was how can we help you create influence with
Yes.
digest, with summary, with our own thoughts based on everything we've been learning so far in season 1 and, of course, season 2.
Yeah. And that's a good summary, Gab. And like when I think about the guests we spoke to, like like last season, from like Tamara, Madison, Colin, there was a lot of stuff that we learned personally that it's like you can't just hear it once and have it absorbed. It's like going to the gym. It's you got to get those reps in. You have to build that habit. This is like another avenue just to give that information to help you be more influential. And not be left on red by your sales team when you build a new one pager for them.
Yeah, and for my perspective, I told the guys it was very important that we make this different, we make this unique. There's so many good newsletters out there, and how are we going to compete with that? So, what we will say as we work out the final format and deliverable, you will have something different, you will have something fun, and you will have something that allows us to tell more stories than we could just tell on a podcast episode. So I'm really
Very
excited
well
about
put.
it, especially coming from someone who's not traditionally that excited about newsletters. And I can assure you that we're going to make this one just as fire as every episode of the pod.
And better part about it is that you don't got to write it. We write it for you.
Zach's lying. He's going to let ChatGPT write it for him. We just hooked him up to ChatGPT for script, and he's going ham.
Another thing that I think would really be key this season is we're true misfits, and we feel like we gathered a small tribe of other PMM's misfits over those past few months, and we thrive on feedback. So if there's some
Yeah.
stuff you like in episodes, or you don't like, or you think we could improve, please engage with us. Like, we're true people who's just trying to have fun and learn a lot more about product marketing. Uh, and yeah, like, just reach out to our LinkedIn page or on the website or whatever. And we have some free swags we can give sometimes. Maybe you'll fall in our
Sometimes.
favorites if giving us feedback
Or
and love and
you
stuff
can,
like that.
if you want it faster, you can shop the merch store at notmarketers.com.
And subscribe to the newsletter. And it's the data goes straight to Salesforce right here. So you just need to encourage a small local company, which is also a $1 billion one.
Yeah. And when we say we're going to put you in drip, we mean it literally. Everything.
And this shameless promotion for the last 37 seconds is just to fill up the time that we got here with you here.
Are we getting paid?
Guys,
are we getting paid for that short advertisement we just did, or is that Gab? Is your dad hooking us up with the $25?
Yeah, maybe 25. Like, I think my dad can spare 25 for each of us. Canadian dollar though, which is 25 Canadian in USD is what, $7? I'm
Grubhub?
kidding, but sometimes
I get any
that's
Grubhub?
in the US.
that's enough for a yerba mate. I'll take that. The unofficial drink of We're Not Marketers.
Yeah. Transfer me that 7 USD in a Grubhub gift card so I can get me a couple yerba mates from Target.
You look.
I'll bring you some from South America.
So, yo, I got a quick question for y'all. We talked a little bit about emotional engagement, about how we're using in our pod. We saw comments, we had a survey, we had a poll that completely shattered us. Almost shattered us. I'm curious, what else if for our us product marketers in the space, what are other ways that we should be measuring emotional engagement? Like, how could someone replicate this in what they do in their 9 to 5?
For me, I think it started at the very core of what we do, right? This started as like a bitch session. This pod started as like an original bitch session between myself and Gab, and then you had the same one with Gab, right? There's a lot of emotions tied to that. And I think what we've been able to do is keep the root of that. And hey, there's all these problems, struggles, strifes, things that we need to overcome as product marketers in tech. And we've kept that. We're not shying away from it. We're still calling out a spade. And we've got a few episodes coming out this season in which we even look at ourselves. We just had one with enter name that I can't say here yesterday and talked about some of the things that product marketers can look at themselves in the mirror and change. And I think that's from an emotional standpoint, we have picked things that are tied to emotion naturally, right? When we started our first conversation, and we've just found a small tribe, like Gab said, who believe in similar beliefs that we do, who have similar anxieties that we do, who have been steamrolled by a naive CEO who was not hiring properly or
Yeah.
managing up the way they should. So I
Yeah.
think that's how I would suggest anyone else if they want to try to duplicate that emotional engagement piece is find the
Yeah.
conversations that are super emotionally charging and
Yes. Yes.
attack it.
Yeah. Talk to your people. I think that was something that he or she who cannot be named said yesterday, is that for a profession where we pride ourselves on being the voice of the customer, there's some of us who don't want to talk to the customer. And there's two things I want to add, is that one, it was like, one thing when we were building out this podcast, I remember we were all sitting down and we are like, hey, how do we better understand the persona? Was one, we talked amongst ourselves. We speak to product marketers in space every single day, and organizing that in a persona doc of, I call this framework the PQR squared. I read it on LinkedIn, and it was just like, hey, what are the three problems, three questions, three roadblocks, three results that someone in your ICP may face related to X problem? For us was feeling misunderstood. And then the second one, I'm just going to wrap it up, is that I was talking to a potential client and we were talking about, hey, how do you communicate ICP to a sales rep? And I was like, first and foremost, like, you got to talk their language. And you got to understand the meaning. You got to understand the feeling. Like, don't say, hey, what's your ICP? I'd be like, what is the thing that a prospect would say that indicates, that makes you feel, I'm going to close this deal? What are the things that they're doing that you're going to be like, oh, this is a clear problem? What are they feeling? What feelings are they describing when you know, oh, we can relate to them? So I think that is one way that informs how to use emotional engagement just to be a better product marketer to your sales reps. And I, again, going back to that influence piece.
Exactly. And I like what you said about basically talking to people and validating it. But I think a lot of it is just easier because we feel or felt like misfits. And we also are in position when we can understand if those assumptions are real. Like just the call I had this morning with a founder, and it was for a PMM role. And the first two things I realized is this person put out the role because it looks trendy, SaaS product marketing manager. And when I started asking about the role, I realized that he didn't know what good product marketing was looking like. And just by listing down like the task, I said, you need a marketing coordinator, an intern, or someone in ops, but I don't think you need a PM. And like we even had, like I even told him, I think right now the role would, your goal in go to market is to do X, Y, Z. And then he said, what do you mean by go to market? And I was like, let's see the job title you just posted. So I think there's some gaps like that that I'm not blaming him. I don't know where he heard that he needed to hire a PMM, but I think sometimes there's foundational work that needs to be done. And the funding PMM can do it, but you need to make sure that the CEO or the co-founders are able to understand it. So in that case, this is everything that we've been hearing, that we've been feeling,
Yeah.
that we're seeing, and we can kind of check, hey, this has been done. Hey, this is a
Yeah.
real situation. So we can help real people with real problems within it.
Yes. Anthony said something like that last season. He said like product marketing is like the one marketing profession where there's go to market in the job description. But then to your example, Gab, like you put that in there, some of us don't know what go to market means or what it even means for the work we want to do.
And that's
It's
why we're
it's
back for season 2, isn't it? Because our job is not finished. Product marketing is still so misunderstood. Like I'm at Clue now. Woohoo! Big changes since season 1. Interesting. Even the first few weeks, one of their customers asked, like they're trying to fill a job description, and they asked, what should I put on this job description? They were asking a vendor what should go on a job description for a product marketer. And what's super interesting about that to me is, one, you're going to someone who's obviously not directly related to your business. Two, it just shows that I don't know what I'm necessarily hiring for or what I want to hire for. And more of us are going to get shoved into one of those positions. And then more and more of us will have what happened to Zach and I. And that's just, it's not a good cycle. And so I think that's what's really cool, what we're trying to do here. Who knows what type of dent we're going to make. Eventually we'll figure out a metric that we can tie to it, but our mission's not over. And that's why we're back for season 2.
Exactly. New beginnings. I'm very excited about this, and that's cool because we're all in different situations compared to season one. I think it's going to be a
What
pretty
are
cool
those
season.
situations?
So,
Let's talk about that a little bit. I made one little note, right? I'm over at Clue instead of working in dental procurement software and got a little guy here. Enzo is, as of today, 2 months old and
Ooh.
thriving.
oh,
Absolutely thriving. I think those are the two big changes from season one, Eric at We're Not Marketers versus season two, Eric at We're Not Marketers. What's going on in your world, Zach?
So I'm still consulting. What's changed now? A few things have changed. One, I'm living at, like I said, moved from our apartment from San Francisco, living with the parents, gives you more financial runway in building the consulting business. Two, I have my own work email. So if you're trying to hit me up for a potential client engagement, I'm not going to hit you with the zgroberts at icloud.com, or as these other two gents know, my other one I had since I was 12, rob62 at gmail.com. You can hit me up at zach at breakintoproductmarketing.com. A long ass email, but it's specific to what I do. But the last thing too, as well, is that just learning how to build like a solo consultancy. And Gab, you and I have spoken about this too a lot, is that like building that clientele, building that relationship, like coming in with what the work we've been doing and the conversations we've had about what good product marketing looks like, or how to be one to build that influence, how to define that work and how to shape it. It's been really cool. Like I've had clients being like, I still want to work with you, and potential clients saying, I do want to work with you. And I feel like it's a big part of just talking with you guys each week, the guests we bring on and things we've been learning too, has given me a stronger foundation to like strike out on my own. Despite last July, the founding story was finding the door.
Well, and I want to add to that too, Zach. I think you're selling yourself a little short because last when we started this, you were like a one client operation, more or less, and I am progressively seeing every week you have interest building and building. So you are, in my eyes, a full blown consultant in every shape of the word, and it's super cool as your friend to see you go from just like finding a way to make ends meet to you. This is your thing now, right? I would like to
I
call that out.
appreciate that.
Make sure you're not selling yourself short on that, dude.
No, I
no, definitely.
appreciate that. I appreciate.
And it's just a good segue to what's new with me, because like just seeing you thrive as much and working with clients and doing that just ultimately pushed me to do the same. And yeah, like uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's very liberating.
It is.
Yeah. So yeah, you've been a big motivation, man, into how it's done, and I really like our chats. I feel like we're always sharing how this is how I do things. You share how this is how I do things, and I feel like it's just like having those networking chat into how do you
Yeah.
manage stuff as a full-blown consultant is very insightful, because then I
Yeah.
can compare what I'm doing. And I think it's always like the most important thing for me is, am I working on the right stuff? Always
Yes.
prioritize, which to me,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of my product marketing experience have been giving me that kind of mindset of, I saw founders do that stuff for like
Mhm.
years. So I want to make sure that I prioritize my time to work on what actually bring results.
Yeah. And guys, don't get me wrong too, as well as it's been very liberating, but it's a different type of stress from a 9 to 5 with consulting. Like I was just telling you guys, I think like earlier this week, and if I didn't, I'm going to say it now. Last week, I lost a 25K deal, and it was because of two negotiating mistakes I made. And I'll talk about it more at some point, but it was just like that was like a lesson for myself I got. And but then I think we're like going back to Eric and Gab were talking last season about the layoffs. Like I was going through a time where when I first happened, I was like applying to roles, not hearing anything, like going to interviews that kind of made me feel dehumanized, felt less of a person, and made me feel like a number versus like considering my aspirations, what I wanted to do, compared to today, where like you guys are describing, like being able to work on some really cool projects from like partner sales engagement to helping build a thought leadership strategy, and having people that want to work with you because of the unique skill set that you bring to the table and the value you're bringing, building that from ground. It's crazy to think of how much of a 180 like has changed in 7 to 8 months. And again, I'm just fortunate to be in your guys' circle and just to be like the privilege of doing this with you all each and every week.
Leveling up. And by the way, Gab didn't shoot a straight arrow on this. What he meant to say was he quit his job and he's now a full-time consultant.
Quit his job.
That is what he meant to say. Very excited for you both.
Give this man his roses.
Yeah, flowers.
Thank you for translating.
If you're allergic to roses, then we'll give you some flowers. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to work. That's why I decided to start my own thing.
Yeah, no, that's Anthony.
So life and work are intertwined, basically.
Anthony's Pierre's post, it was perfect. He goes, if you're not a good employee, then you become a consultant.
Exactly. Yeah, that's spot on.
I laugh so hard.
Suck at your job, go into consulting.
Constantly arguing with everyone at your org, just become a consultant.
Exactly. Point what's not working. You should change this. It sucks. Pay me $10K, please.
Well, that's cool. I'm excited. I know we've got a lot of cool things coming over the next few months, both in the pod and out of the pod. So make sure you're all tuning in. And we'd love, actually, I'm going to open this up. We'd love any opportunities to collab. We have no idea what that looks like currently, but if you want to reach out to the Skelly boys, we're all ears.
We're all for it. And if you comment on one of our memes and posts, for the benefit of reaching out to us, you don't know which one of us is responding. It could be
or it's going to be me, probably.
I'm no it could be me. I do drop a little Easter egg in some of the posts to let you know who it is.
Oh yeah, a colored emoji.
Yeah,
that's your Easter egg.
Yeah.
I know every time Zach's posted because he's got the thumbs up. I'm like, oh, that's Zach. I try to keep the yellow emoji on the social.
I get the Easter egg. I'm like, yo, it's got to hit you with the black hand.
No, it's an obvious one.
I want to be secretive, but not too secretive. So here's a little nugget for you to chase out.
Wow,
so funny.
Well, if no one knew, now you know. That's
you get the secret.
Spoiler alert, it's Zach.
And if I hit you back if I give you a cheeky response and you see the moon emoji, that's me too. I use the moon emoji a lot.
You're giving all of our tricks away.
I'm not giving your guys' tricks away. I'm giving mine away.
All right. What do you guys think? You think we're near wrapping it up time? Do we have any other big takeaways we want to drop on the group?
Just a summary. Go on our new website and please tell us how you feel about it. As product marketing consultant, the three of us technically, you should definitely give us feedback. That way we'll be able to say, I understand that it doesn't work, but yeah, we're consultants. We like to stay vague and unclear a little bit. But yeah,
we'll
check
choose
the
feedback
website
that we want to listen to.
Exactly. Check the website, subscribe to the newsletter if you feel like it. I think you're going to be loving it. We're going to be giving a lot of Easter eggs that goes beyond emojis on that newsletter.
That's true.
Yeah, you're in for a treat.
Yeah,
absolutely. And Gab said, tear it up. Won't hurt our feelings too bad if you don't like our messaging. There's always room for improvement. And I think at the very least, help us refine it because Zach's spending a lot of money on it with the help of his wife and paying her in Panda Express. So we need just the proper feedback on the coding and all of that good stuff. So please make sure you check out the new We're Not Marketers website, available today.
Drop it like it's hot. Notmarketers.com. And Gab said earlier, that's where you can sign up for the newsletter. Sign up if you feel like it. It's going to be once a week, giving some insights, recaps on how to be a more influential product marketer that your CEO shows the door to. But if they do, let it be that they regret that decision, as they did with all three of us.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And guys, I just want to say, feels good to be back. Thanks for another episode of We're Not Marketers. Season
See you
2.
soon.
Adios.
Woo!
Thank you for listening to We're Not Marketers. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, review our podcast, and share this episode with other PMMs. Thanks again, and see you soon.